can't believe I saw all 4.
This case.
Hey everyone, this is Carbon. I bring you another standard match. Today we're going to be taking a look at both Stride deck sets that have recently been revealed. We've had one video for each to see how they go up against current standard decks, and today we're going to have them going straight on, head on against each other. So on the left, of course, we do have Shiranui, and on the right we have my teammate Joshua playing Luard, his new pet deck for the next 6 months probably. Anyways, we do have Luard going second, which is definitely the coveted place you want to be going. We see the Spiral Cutie discarded there, using its skill to draw a card. That, along with the starter as well as Ni's skill, will allow us to be drawing a total of 3 cards. The very fair and balanced thing that all the Stride deck sets are able to do, just drawing 3 off of going second. So, looks like we do see the, is it Abyssal Owl? I think Abyssal Owl is the crit. I feel like I've had this exact discussion earlier, but is it Belau Owl? Whatever. The Owl gets discarded, adding a Luard. Going to be calling out that one grade 1 that is a 13k attacker on Ritual 3. No, I think it's GB3. It's something like that. Whatever, I don't care. And then 2 painkillers, 1 to boost the Vanguard, 1 to be a rearguard. Swinging the first attack, of course we are going to be taking a pretty good move, I would say there. You do kind of want to bank on the defensive. Unfortunately, it is not going to happen, and worst case scenario, we are actually going to be seeing a crit here coming from the Vanguard. Not seeing a single defensive there, so this last painkiller swing for an 18 going to be needing a 15k guard there, which we are going to be blocking. So things are definitely in favor for Luard. Just having the ability to to rush all the way straight from grade 1, which is something that Shiranui isn't as great at. It has a pretty decent grade 2 game, but it's kind of hard to beat out Luard's grade 1 turn, just because they play such a high quantity of grade 1 units there. Anyways, we do see the Shoji Doji being ridden as the grade 2, going to be calling, I believe that's a Fudai over there, and then putting another card to soul. So another reason why Shiranui does have a pretty decent grade 2 game is just because that Shoji Doji allowing you to get that, basically just that free extra card there. And then another reason why they have such a good grade 2 game is going to be this other grade 2, but because you are on a Shoji Doji, you can actually counterblast 1, check top 5, and add any stealth from those top 5 to your hand. And I think it might have another skill, unless I'm thinking about the other card, but I'm sure if it comes up, we'll see it. Anyways, like I said, things are not really in the greatest position if you're the Shiranui player. You're right at 3, and it's only turn 2, so definitely not where you want to be at right now. Looks like we are going to be adding a copy of that Restander. The only way I know him is he is the Restander that is not Fudai, so that's what he will be referred to as. He is not Fudai, and somewhat as good, somewhat not as good. Anyways, so I guess we're going to kind of decide what we want to do here. Theoretically, we could swing in at those rear guards just to ensure that Luard doesn't have any boosters, so that attacks can be a little bit easier. But at the same time, if they have a Morfessa, that's going to be swinging for 15, which is 10k guard anyway. So it looks like the Fudai is going to be trying to stem some of the aggression. We called a rear guard behind the Vanguard. Definitely not a bad play. Putting a rear guard behind the Vanguard puts a lot of pressure on your Vanguard swing. We did see the rear guard swing in here being blocked, and then the Vanguard being the final swing, hitting into a crit of their own, allowing them to go ahead and push Luard to 2. We do see the Mabel going to damage, which is not great, but if we can manage to heal it out, then we should be in a pretty decent position here. Anyways, Luard riding up to grade 2, that Leafall, discarding the Spiral Cutie once again, Soul Blasting and drawing cards, so kind of just maintaining that card advantage. Calling out that guy, pink-haired guy, I don't know what his name is, or her name, or their name, or whatever. Calling down a full board of painkillers. So we've got some pretty decent numbers here. We've got 18, 18, and 16 from that double painkiller line. So all these are going to be calling for a 10k guard, or basically 1 defensive trigger. Unfortunately, the 4th damage there is not going to be a defensive, so we are kind of in a pinch here. Theoretically, I think we do have enough hand here, but we do die to a crit if we decide to let this Vanguard attack go through. So we do kind of have to block it. And looks like we're going to be guarding for 15k, which is currently a 1 to pass. And definitely a very big risk. So we do actually see a crit here in the form of that blue Overture. Unfortunately, there isn't really anything great to get back from the drop zone. We don't really want to get a grade 1 because that's going to reduce our ritual count there. I believe we did see 2 cards going into the hand there, but that's going to be fixed in a little bit. Thankfully, Shiranui is going to manage to not die here with a miracle 5th damage heal, meaning that they are going to be healing down. And of course, this other column is not going to hit, so we're just going to swing at the Fudai. Definitely the correct choice because that is the restander. So now Shiranui does have a bit of a decision here. Things are not really looking that great. You have to consider, can I survive another turn or should I just ride up? But looks like Shiranui is going to opt to not ride up here, calling down that restander just to, you know, more grade 2 pressure. As we swing the 10k here, that's going to be a pretty easy 5k block. Luard once again is only at 2, so they're not really struggling at all. As this Vanguard swings in for 18. Going to be seeing another critical trigger there, giving the crit to that Vanguard and of course the power to that rear guard. Luard are going to be hitting into a heal trigger of their own, meaning that, you know, this last attack is going to be that much easier to guard. So we do kind of have to decide, where do we want this other not Fudai to kind of swing in. Theoretically, we could swing it at that one rear guard. We could swing for just like force out of 5k guard, or we could try and protect or get rid of some of the rear guards. But at the same time, you know, Luard doesn't actually have the most ideal board here. They can overcall, but you know, being able to keep those things in hand. So now we have the difficult decision for Luard. Does Luard want to ride up and try and see if we can kill? You really only need to put 1 damage on the opponent. But if the opponent has, like, say, 3 15k shields and maybe like a PG, they will be able to probably block most things. But looks like Luard is going to be riding up using the Leafall skill to counterblast 1, or not counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and draw another card there. So looks like we're going to aim for the throat. If we can get a trigger here, we probably increase our ability to, you know, win the game here and now. But this 21 is going to be blocked with a 25. That's going to be a 1 to pass. This extra 5k is going to make it 30. Is that 30? I think that might... No, that was 25, 30. That was still 1 to pass, unless I'm thinking incorrectly. Anyways, this other painkiller column is swinging for a 16. Looks like Shiranui still has like around 4 cards in hand, so long as they have like 2 more 15k guards, they should be fine. Maybe swinging for an 18, and looks like they do have the front trigger there, which I guess if that was a 1 to pass, we could have just guarded with the front trigger and then the 5k guard to make it a 2 to pass, and then, you know, commit the 15k there. So it doesn't really matter in the end. But now Shiranui is at last going to be able to get the first stride of the game, as they discard a PG to ride up into that Shiranui, and then they have to have some stride fodder, and looks like they managed to draw into the grade 1 stride fodder, so that's going to allow them to stride into that Magen Tembu. Now things are looking pretty dicey for the Luard. Right now we're staring at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swings right here, and we've got 5 cards in hand. Thanks to that crit last turn, we don't really have a lot of leeway in getting, you know, actual defensives here. Thankfully, all your board is grade 1, so everything is essentially just a 5k guard. The 17 is just a 5k guard, but at the same time, each one represents a card in hand, and we just do not have enough cards in hand to actually survive all 5 attacks. And that 5 attacks has suddenly jumped up to 7 attacks with the calling of a second restander out of Shiranui. So the only hope that we really have here, I think, is we need to kind of bank on the defensive, because if we can get a defensive here, you can blank the not Fudai's attack, and you can also make it so that the Fudai itself is a 5k guard. From there, you do kind of have to find some way to block the Vanguard swing, and then maybe just 2 15k shields, assuming there are no triggers, to block the other 2, because the not Fudai gets another 10k. Does it get another 10k? I think it might be GB2 locked, or Dominate locked, or something like that. I think the restand is Dominate locked, but I think that 10k is second stride only. I could be incorrect about that. Food I know is plus 10k as long as you've used, you know, stride skill and Magen Tembu, because he gets 5k for every dominated attack that there was this turn. But it looks like we're going to calculate doing just that. Unfortunately, that defensive is not going to be there, so our ability to guard these final 5 attacks is kind of just not there. We needed to have a defensive there in order to actually blank at least 1 attack, and unfortunately we're just going to bank all that 6 damage heal. It's not going to come, so that is going to be the end of the game. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave the things, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.